Turning our attention now to the life of Logan Federico, a college student and aspiring teacher who was killed at the age of 2022. She was murdered in early May while visiting friends at the University of South Carolina.
So on Monday, Logan's father, Stephen Federico, delivered a fiery testimony at a congressional hearing in Charlotte aimed at addressing growing violent crime and repeat offenders. Here's that moment.
She was 5'3". She weighed 115 pounds. Bang! Dead. Gone. Why? Because Alexander Devontae Dickey, who was arrested 39 goddamn times, 25 felonies, was on the street. You need to fight for the rest of our children, the rest of the innocents, and stop protecting the people that keep taking them from us.
Just incredibly powerful there. The totally justified anger a father would feel after the death of his daughter. It was in May of this year, and she was 22 years old. With that, let's welcome in North Carolina Congressman Mark Harris joins us now, member of the House Judiciary Committee. But, sir, this is obviously impactful. That hearing in which we heard Mr. Federico there took place in North Carolina. Can you share with us your thoughts as to what runs through your mind after hearing his testimony?
Well, thank you so much for having me this morning. That was a powerful moment and what really turned out to be a powerful hearing. That father, Stephen Federico, he brought the picture of what had happened to his daughter and made it so vivid that I don't think any of us that were in that room will ever forget it for the rest of our lives. It is a real problem that was brought to light. We obviously had gathered there because of what had happened on the light rail in Charlotte just back in August with Iryna Zerutska, an Ukrainian immigrant who had come over here, leaving her war-torn country, and then found herself the victim of a violent stabbing and murder right there on that train. And while we gathered to talk about the fact that her perpetrator had been really arrested 14 times, had spent 5 years in prison for violent crime, and yet he sat in front of a magistrate, and that magistrate, less than a month before this occurred, actually just had him sign a statement promising he would show up for a hearing. And then, of course, this tragedy occurred on August 22nd. But we had gathered for that purpose, and we ended up hearing the story of Logan Federico that, again, just shook us at so many levels. And something's got to be done. It highlighted and really put a bright light on what is happening in many of our cities where these Democrat policies of just soft on crime are creating major atrocities.
Stephen said, too, he says, you're going to get tired of hearing my voice because I now speak for my daughter who has no voice now. But there's another situation here. 3 patrons, they were fatally shot. 5 more were injured at a waterfront bar in Southport, North Carolina over the weekend. The suspect is a former Marine, Nigel Edge, who opened fire from a boat nearby. Now North Carolina Governor Josh Stein is calling for your state to adopt red flag laws. This would allow courts to temporarily remove firearms from individuals who pose a significant danger to themselves or others. Your thoughts on this, and also what the root problem of the crime is in your state?
Well, I don't think anyone disagrees that the mental health issues are going to be addressed and need to be addressed. This individual that is accused of the crime of killing Iryna obviously has some mental health issues that everyone recognized, and we need to do better. We need to look at how we can incarcerate these individuals and keep them off the streets. The problem, though, is really a system that broke down at so many levels, and we've got to get more diligent about following through on these individuals. How someone can spend 5 years in prison, had a known issue going on with mental health, and the magistrate simply let this person back out on the streets was extremely uncalled for and ended up costing the life of this young person. And then, again, when you look at the story of Logan, this man should have never been out on the streets as well. And so we've got to do better. In fact, the North Carolina General Assembly has passed Iryna's law that we're waiting on Governor Stein to sign into law. And he really hasn't made clear what his position is going to be on that. So that needs to happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we'll be watching for that. While we've got you, Congressman, I got to ask about the shutdown that's happening, the government shutdown underway. We're kind of waiting to see how Democratic senators are going to vote. Right now, they're not agreeing with Republicans here. What do you think happens next?
Well, we're going to see another vote tomorrow, and you're exactly right. We're waiting for Democrats to come to their senses. We've said from the beginning, Republicans, we did our job in the House. It'll be 2 weeks tomorrow since we passed the clean CR. It's so very simple. It's not complicated. We passed the clean CR that said until November 21st, we were going to keep the government open, giving us time to move the appropriation bills that we need to move. We moved, I think, 3. We have several more in the hopper. The Senate has also passed 3. They have more that are awaiting. We need some time. We're going to get that done as November 21st. The Democrats, unfortunately, are playing politics with this. This is Chuck Schumer's shutdown. And the reason he's doing it is very clear. His policies are not resonating with the American people. So he's trying to create anything that he can somehow get attention, and it's a real problem. But the American people see through it. They understand that, what he's doing, and it's costing all of us. And to hold the American government hostage is not a good look. And that's exactly what the Democrats are doing. I've been encouraged by the fact that several have already crossed the line. My hope is that tomorrow they'll find the 5 more they need to get to the 60 votes. We have a majority in both houses, a bipartisan, that have voted in favor of this clean CR. That needs to happen.
We shall see. 3 Democrats already voted. They need 8. So we'll wait to see whether or not 5 more flip. Congressman Mark Harris, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Take care.